Right now, on to the point.
When you're talking against $600 billion in exposure, the math doesn't make sense.
The California Fair Plan facing a financial nightmare. Tonight, how it could impact all homeowners in the state. Plus, California sues the Trump administration again. Why this time it's over research grants. ICE reportedly detains undocumented people while in court.
Keeping families together is a human rights issue.
The message local leaders have for immigrants living in fear. And the new pushback tonight over routine COVID vaccines, as the federal government says healthy kids and pregnant women don't need them. And we start tonight with developing news. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. A federal trade court has just blocked President Donald Trump's tariffs plan, saying it is illegal. This follows several lawsuits arguing Trump exceeded his authority when announcing tariffs. California sued the administration last month, arguing this tariff plan needs congressional approval. And Governor Newsom posted a statement tonight saying the courts agree Donald Trump exceeded his authority when he tried to impose his chaotic, disruptive tariffs that have done nothing but increase costs for American families. It's not clear what happens next following tonight's ruling. Now to California's insurance crisis. The state's insurer of last resort is facing a financial nightmare. Today, the president of California's Fair Plan updated lawmakers on their finances. She says the plan is running out of money as claims are adding up. ABC 10 has reported this could impact all homeowners in the state. I want to bring in ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen. She joins us now in studio with three things that you really need to know.
Alex, just about 5 months after the wildfires in Los Angeles, the California Fair Plan is giving us an update that's not too surprising. Finances are not looking good with the current market and the amount of losses the Fair Plan has to pay as a result of these fires.
The number of Fair Plan policyholders continues to grow.
On Wednesday, lawmakers with the Assembly Insurance Committee got an update from the president of the California Fair Plan. It's the state's last resort homeowner insurer when no other option is available.
At our previous oversight hearing, it was relayed that the Fair Plan may be one catastrophe away from seeking approval to assess their member companies. Unfortunately, that catastrophe took place on January 7th.
The Fair Plan's president, Victoria Roach, says they've received more than 5,500 claims as of May 22nd for damages caused by the Palisades and Eaton fires, with half of those claims reporting total losses.
We've paid over $2.9 billion in claims so far. Our estimate is that we're going to pay close to $4 billion total when all is said and done.
Insurance expert Carl Sussman says it's no secret the Fair Plan is running out of money. Here's what he wants homeowners to know.
They may very well go back to the private companies that are already paying their own claims for the fire and have to contribute more money to keep Fair Plan propped up.
To make matters worse, the Fair Plan has seen an increase in insuring homes in low wildfire hazard areas.
In the low wildfire risk area, we've grown about 40% in exposure so far in the first 6 months of the year.
Adding that the lack of options for homeowners is one of the main reasons, but so is cost.
We are lower priced. When you look in those low wildfire areas, you are going to find we have somebody just sent us an example last month where the policy with us, it was about $682, I think, was the premium.
But Sussman says this is misleading because the Fair Plan is only basic fire insurance.
What she's comparing it to is not a standard insurance company because they're not offering coverage.
And moving through the legislature right now is Assembly Bill 226, and if passed, would allow the Fair Plan to request bonds from the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank if it faces financial challenges during a major event like a wildfire. The Fair Plan says it is in support of this bill. Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you. And To The Point spent months investigating the state's insurance crisis. We spoke to homeowners, the state's insurance commissioner, and questioned 9 Congress members about what Congress might be able to do about this crisis. You can stream our Emmy-nominated special, California's Insurance Crisis, right now on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. That app is free to download straight to your TV. Tonight, just one day after President Donald Trump threatened to withhold funding to California over the state's trans student athlete policies, the federal Justice Department announced that it is opening an investigation into the state's 2013 law that allows student athletes to compete on the sports team that aligns with their gender identity. Now, the Justice Department argues the state law violates Title IX. Trump and other critics say transgender girls have an unfair biological advantage over cisgender girls, who are those assigned a female sex at birth. He has been criticizing the California Interscholastic Federation, CIF, which governs high school sports in the state. after the CIF announced a new pilot approach to championships happening this weekend for high school track and field. We are now learning if a transgender girl takes first place, then both she and the highest scoring cisgender girl will receive a gold medal. This will only impact 3 events that are happening this weekend. State Attorney General Rob Bonta is taking the Trump administration to court again, this time over National Science Foundation grants. California and 15 other states are calling on the federal government to stop terminating grants and cost caps for scientific research. The state says millions of dollars in funding are at risk across California State University, University of California, and public community college systems, arguing that many innovations like the internet, GPS, and MRI technology trace their origins to research initially funded by NSF. The Attorney General says in part, quote, with President Trump's latest round of indiscriminate funding cuts, America is poised to fall behind its competitors at a critical moment in the global technology race. We are suing to stop him. According to the Project Grants Watch, more than 1,600 NSF grants totaling to more than $1.5 billion in research investments have been terminated since April. And tonight, pushback is growing after RFK Jr. announced the federal government is removing COVID-19 vaccines from the list of shots recommended for healthy and pregnant women. ABC's Perry Russum has more.
Public health officials questioning Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s decision to no longer recommend COVID vaccines for healthy kids and pregnant women.
Children and pregnant people are particularly vulnerable to COVID illness. COVID vaccine is safe and it's effective, and it's a much safer way to learn the immunity of COVID.
Kennedy, a vaccine skeptic, making the announcement yesterday after repeatedly saying during his confirmation process he would do nothing that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking vaccines.
I couldn't be more pleased to announce that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Kennedy standing alongside the FDA commissioner.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
But the leading OBGYN association warning it is very clear that COVID-19 infection during pregnancy can be catastrophic. The Trump administration now accused of bypassing the traditional independent review process, including recommendations from medical experts.
This decision was made without any input from the typical groups that provide guidance to the FDA around vaccination decision making. And as far as I can recall, and I've been in practice over 30 years, that sort of process has not been undertaken before.
Medical experts say the new guidelines will remove a healthcare choice for families and impact access, as some insurance companies could opt not to pay for the vaccine. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
The American Lung Association is also speaking about yesterday's announcement, saying this takes away choices for children and pregnant women. They say in a statement in part, quote, the science does not support the decision. COVID-19 is still a significant public health threat, and vaccination is the best way to help keep parents at work, kids at school, and families healthy. So far this year, there have been over 11,500 deaths involving COVID. Next, on To the Point, ICE detains undocumented immigrants in court, causing local leaders to speak out.
We're seeing ICE not following due process, and so we have to do everything we can.
Their message to immigrants living in fear.
And temperatures are warming up. We are going to be in the 90s tomorrow, triple digits by Friday and Saturday.
And the financial concerns tonight for cities getting ready to celebrate Pride. Welcome back in. We are tracking a weather impact alert. There's a big warm up in our forecast by the end of the week. But let's take a live look out over downtown Sacramento. We are talking temperatures over 100 degrees. Cities are activating cooling shelters for relief from the heat. And we do have those details over on our website, abc10.com. But I want to get over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef, because these temperatures, they could actually break records, right?
Yeah, potentially. Certainly some daily high temperature records are likely to be broken, but we could also tie or set a new May high temperature record in Sacramento. More on that in a second. 79 currently, though, outside. It's a very nice evening. 74 in Elk Grove, 78 in Stockton, 75 Manteca, 82 Modesto, 77 in Vacaville, 88 Colusa and Marysville, 70s in the foothills, low 70s in the high country. A very nice delta breeze going. Sustained winds close to 10 to 20 miles per hour across parts of the valley and delta, gusting 25 to 35 miles per hour. So again, that delta breeze really helping to cool us off. Mid 70s at the top of the hour, mid 60s by 9 o'clock and low 60s by 11 o'clock tonight. Starting Thursday off right where we have been the last few days in those middle 50s. So a very mild start, but the heat really sets in tomorrow. We're going to be in the mid 90s, very close to, if not the warmest day we've had so far this year, but it is only just the beginning. Mid 90s tomorrow, but we're going to be looking at temperatures near 105 degrees on Friday. That's 20 degrees warmer than normal for the time of year. The all-time hottest temperature in the month of May in Sacramento is 105 degrees. So we're going to be, again, right there for Friday. The good news is temperatures drop pretty quickly by the time we get to Sunday and into next week. Important to go over some quick heat safety reminders. You want to wear sunscreen with an SPF of at least 30, and you want to reapply that every 2 hours that you are in the sun. Take frequent breaks in the shade in the AC about every half hour to 45 minutes. Drink plenty of water before, during, and after your time in the heat, and think of the pets as well. When it's 105 degrees outside, the concrete can easily be 155 degrees, so walk your dogs early in the day, and if you're going to be walking in the afternoon or early evening, walk them in the grass so they don't burn their paw pads. Taking a look at those temperatures, again, daily high temperature record on Friday almost certainly to be broken. The record's 100, but the May temperature record in Sacramento is 105, very close on Friday. By Saturday, temperatures dip a couple of degrees, but we're still in the triple digits. By Sunday, we're in the low 90s and then low 80s by Tuesday. So 3 days of some pretty warm temperatures, and then we're right back to seasonal, Alex.
Coming up onto the point, the message from immigrant advocates and local leaders after reports of ICE detaining people in court. And the new images overseas tonight, marking 600 days since the October 7th Hamas attack and the crises that have followed. Marking 600 days since the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, followed by a devastating war. Tonight, a rally was held in the streets of Israel, chanting slogans in Hebrew, calling for the release of hostages, saying, yes, we will bring them back. They are pushing for Israel and Hamas to strike a deal, and it comes as the first aid distribution center in Gaza unraveled into chaos, overwhelmed by thousands of Palestinians scrambling for food not seen since the last time Israel let humanitarian aid in March. Israel says warning shots were fired in the chaos to control the crowd. President Trump also speaking, calling for an end to the war.
No, we're dealing with the whole situation in Gaza. We're getting food to the people of Gaza. It's been a very nasty situation, very nasty fight.
Israel Prime Minister denies targeting the civilian population and brushed the threat of famine aside.
What we're seeing in courts across the country, including here in San Francisco, is a fear tactic, plain and simple.
Outrage tonight over immigrants reportedly arrested by ICE as they left San Francisco Immigration Court on Tuesday. Seen in these photos, the ICE agents were reportedly wearing plain clothes and put people in a Chevy Impala. Today in Sacramento, immigration advocates gathered to denounce what's also been happening behind closed doors here in Sacramento. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has the details.
At the Sacramento Immigration Court on Wednesday, community organizers, elected officials, and legal experts took a stance in support of immigrants.
We're standing together to denounce a disturbing escalation in immigration enforcement tactics.
Marcus Tang with the California Immigration Project says ICE officers are showing up to court, demanding people identify themselves, and in many cases making arrests on the spot. The most recent, they say, happened here in Sacramento on Tuesday during a hearing. Jessie DeHaven, a volunteer with the Attorney of the Day program, says she witnessed an arrest firsthand as she gave legal advice to 3 men from Venezuela and Haiti.
We noticed they started arresting the first person. When I was working with the second individual, they took him off in handcuffs. And I asked the officers, they were in plain clothes. I said, why are you arresting them? This person had their case dismissed, and they said, we're just following, the orders orders that we were given.
She says the ICE agents told her they needed to arrest him and take him down to their office on the first floor. Then the second and third man were arrested. But DeHaven says these were all people who were following the rules and either had filed for asylum or submitted a declaration. And the judge had agreed to give them until September to gather more information on their case.
I believe that at least 2 of them do not have criminal history. We were unable to do a full intake, but they have been allowed to continue their proceedings undetained. So it is my belief that that they're following all the rules and they should be bond eligible.
DeHaven also says a 4th man was arrested in front of his family, but ICE later let him go, telling her it was a mistake. ICE also told her the men would be transferred to the Golden State Annex, a detention center near Bakersfield. On Wednesday, a spokesman for ICE confirmed the implementation of the Expedited Removal Authority began last week. City Councilwoman Mai Vang says this is a troubling time and says the city plans to fight back.
Keeping families together is a human rights issue, and we're seeing ICE not following due process, and so we have to do everything we can. In the city of Sacramento, we are a sanctuary city, and we're going to do everything we can to protect our families.
In Sacramento, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
We reached out to ICE and they sent us this statement saying, in part, Secretary Noem is reversing Biden's catch and release policy that allowed millions of unvetted illegal aliens to be let loose on American streets. This administration is once again implementing the rule of law. Most aliens who illegally entered the United States within the past 2 years are subject to expedited removals. Tonight, Pride celebrations in cities across the country, including Sacramento, are facing financial hardships. Many are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in corporate sponsorships. Organizations fighting not only federal funding cuts, but Governor Gavin Newsom's proposed budget also slashes millions of dollars from LGBTQ+ programs. Equality California is asking for people to help.
It's not the time to be silent, whether if you can't support with small dollars, right? Like every dollar counts. But if you cannot, it's really calling your representatives, making sure that your voice is heard.
Groups are also asking people to show up to Pride events this year to help raise money. Pride starts in June. And an update tonight on an outage impacting Kaiser patients. Kaiser Permanente says they have been experiencing network interruptions today. They say their clinical facilities are operating, but patients may face delays at labs, radiology, and the pharmacy online and in facilities. They are asking patients to visit kp.org for any updates. All right, coming up after the break, a story that we're working on for tomorrow, how the race for governor is already heating up. Well, the fight for California governor is drawing a crowded and competitive field. While the actual election may be more than a year away, more than 7 prominent Democrats are already campaigning for the job. The To The Point team recently sat down with 3 of the top 7 candidates to hear what they say they want to change if elected.
I think we have to get back to the business of building. Job number 1 is to balance a budget, to make sure that we're not spending more than we have.
The climate crisis, there's no part of the state that is spared from the effects of climate change.
Tomorrow on To The Point, we'll have more on what these 3 candidates say are their top priorities. Also coming up this weekend is the California Democratic Convention, the first time state Democrats are coming together since the presidential election. I will be there covering the convention and hearing from the top 7 Democratic candidates for governor. So you can find our coverage throughout the weekend right here on ABC 10. As always, thank you so much for watching and inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think me and the team should be looking into, you can always reach out to us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And I know we cover a lot of ground on the show, so remember, you can always catch up on stories or even whole shows. You just have to download our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. It is completely free to download straight to your TV. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.